If this Fable is even a 7 out of 10, I'll be overjoyed. But there are genuinely people out here that think that this could win Game of the Year. And honestly, there's a chance, dude. If it's as good as they were making it seem, and the story is compelling, the gameplay is actually really good, it might, especially if GTA is either released too late into the window or delayed again, right? To be able to be available for Game of the Year award, there is a chance.
And you know, I've seen people say there's no way that...
Do we think that NPCs will crack each other?
People who think that what Fable is aiming for is like totally novel or unachievable. It's not. A game last year did it 3 times over. It's very, very doable.
If they don't bring the fart tech back to their Fable reboot, I'm rioting, okay?
Kind of like Stardew Valley when you're married and it's just all of a sudden everything's terrible and boring and lifeless and soulless and passionless. It's a little sad, but yeah. It's just, what do you think they're trying to say about marriage with that? I'm happily married. Stop it.
We're gonna be watching Luke Stevens' video, A Skeptical Look at Fable. Now, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I started watching like maybe 10, 15 minutes of this video, and I was like, oh, I should share this with stream, actually. One, because I could talk about some of this and make it interesting, and also... two, shout out Luke Stevens. He's one of the goats, bro. If you guys want, tap in on that. Obviously, go check out Luke Stevens. He's a real one. If I end up turning this into YouTube content, yo, what's up, YouTube frogs? First link in the description will be Luke Stevens' link, or a link to this video. And second link will be a link to my Twitch stream if you want to come by. By the way, I talk too much, I pause too much, I talk to chat too much. So... bang.
So over the last few days, I've been thinking a lot about Fable. I think a lot of you guys have been as well. In fact, it took the internet by storm when it was showcased at the Xbox Developer Direct. And that's simply because it looked way better than I think a lot of us expected it to. Like, I was kind of braced for it to be pretty rough, but man, they impressed me. But in this...
I keep saying that, or I kept saying, if this Fable is even a 7 out of 10, I'll be overjoyed. But there are genuinely people out here that think that this could win Game of the Year. And honestly, there's a chance, dude. If it's as good as they were making it seem, and the story is compelling, the gameplay is actually really good, it might, especially if GTA is either released too late into the window or delayed again, right? To be able to be available for Game of the Year award, there is a chance.
I wanted to tackle those claims that they made during that developer direct. They said they're doing a lot of stuff in this game, and much of it seems too good to be true. A lot of people have voiced that concern. 1,000 NPCs all simulated with daily routines. Are they mad? There's been other concerns, such as about changes to the morality system, the open world, even the characters' walking animation. No, I'm not joking. We will talk about it. And so I wanted to go through each of these things that I've seen people talk about online and tackle them from a skeptical perspective. And once again, being skeptical just means not being convinced of a claim until there's sufficient evidence to support accepting of that claim, right? So it doesn't mean being a cynical prick where you're just like, nope, looks terrible, I don't, whatever. Like, that's not what it is. It's about looking at it and trying to think critically and be like truly fair, not being a fanboy accepting everything blindly, but also not being a cynical prick. We're just trying to find the truth and what's a reasonable position to hold. And as we go through these things, I think you're gonna see that a lot of what they're trying to do with Fable is not actually that new or novel. It's just exciting to see it put together in the way that it is. But with that said, let's just get into it. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, because I'm a YouTuber and I'm supposed to say that. Thank you very much. And also a quick thank you to our sponsor, Incogni. Incogni is the cutting-edge data removal service that protects your data from online data brokers.
I still don't know how I feel about when doing reacts. I guess it's fine, because technically really they already got their bag for the ad read, I guess. So does it make it okay to skip it? Are we is skipping ad reads ethical in the Big 26? We're gonna do it this time.
Video. So the first thing I wanted to discuss.
Check out Incogni through Luke Stevens' link though. Tap in. If you want an Incogni account, go to the video linked in the description chat. I already linked the video. Go tap in through Luke Stevens' account. Boom. Link.
Probably the most important, and that is the developer. This game is being put together by Playground Games, and spoiler alert, they've never made anything like this before.
Good call, DJ.
Of course, known for Forza Horizon, and they've found tremendous success in that franchise. In fact, over the last 15 years, they've kind of become one of Xbox's darlings. I mean, they make them a lot of money, for sure. And reportedly, a little under a decade ago, they decided they wanted to expand the team and open up a second development team to work on.
Dude, you know what's crazy to me? One of the most commented things on my reels and TikToks of me reacting to Fable, specifically in this part of the video, they're like, why do the devs look like AI? I really think there's some serious, some sort of brain rot of some kind going on where everyone instantly thinks that shit is AI without any proof whatsoever. And I understand, I hate AI, right? And I understand people being gun shy and stuff like that, but I literally don't know what in these shots screams AI. Also, people were saying that Fable was AI slop. Brother, they've been working on this game for 8 years. Literally before AI was even around like that. No, I mean, there might be one or two little things. Maybe, I don't know for sure. But I would imagine most of it is not AI. There's a very good reason for this. Wait, for what? The AI stuff? Put me on, twin. Put me on. Oh, it's because AI is trained on stock photo and video. Oh, so since... and all of this is shot exactly the same. Yeah, since it's cinematic. Yeah, I still think that's some brain rot. Because, if somebody's is this AI right here? I can get that. Being, questioning, hey, because, Microsoft with Halo and shit, they've been a little weird with AI. Well, really weird. They've been oh, yeah, we love AI. Yes, 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 yes. We're putting it in Halo, right? But these motherfuckers are they're AI. They are AI. These people are AI. And somebody was God forbid somebody be a little bit autistic with their game design. These are exactly the devs you want in there. People's blemishes and sharpen the image. Oh. Yo, my new account is catching up in channel points to my old one. W. Let them know.
Something other than racing games. And apparently pretty early on, somebody threw out the idea of doing Fable, and they fell in love with that idea because even back then, Fable had been lying dormant for years and nobody knew what was going on with it. And when Xbox heard that they wanted rights to the franchise, they said sure, because, Xbox kind of fumbled Fable and forced Lionhead, the original studio, to work on a live service co-op game that ended up being received so terribly in early testing and play testing and previews and stuff that they ended up canceling it and never saw the light of day. The original studio went under, the original developers, everybody lost their jobs, which is why they needed a new studio to develop this one. Now
Dude, the fact that Xbox killed off... What is it again? What's the name of the studio? Sorry, he literally just said I'm blanking on it. Lionhead Studios. The fact that they killed off Lionhead Studios because they wanted a live service game and it was ass. Hey, we know you guys kind of had a little rough patch there with Fable 3. People didn't like as much Fable 2. They actually were shitting on it super hard. And then you guys made Fable Connect. Yeah, that was pretty rough. So why don't we really revive your guys' you guys are a RPG, single player type of game studio. Yeah, what if we had you make us a live service game? How about that? What if we did that? Oh, it's ass because you guys don't know how to make one because that's not at all the type of games that you make? We're taking y'all back. We're taking y'all back, buddy. Yeah, dude, the Fable Connect game, bro. I don't remember why I never played that. Because I remember wanting it really badly and having to connect, but I don't remember why. Maybe it was only available online. And I had really bad dial-up internet growing up that literally the Xbox wouldn't even connect to. Maybe I'll have to find and buy a Connect somewhere and we'll have to play it sometime before the new Fable comes out. Where's my spacebar?
said that, it's important to note that the original Fable developer was Lionhead Studios. Lionhead was headed up by a guy named Peter Molyneux. Peter Molyneux is kind of a legend in the games industry, in case you're not aware. Basically, he's known for being a visionary with some very cool ideas when it comes to his games, but he has a problem with, what's the opposite of telling the truth? Oh yeah, lying.
So he was the Todd Howard of his time. Sorry, the 2020s. Todd Howard 2020s version of the time. Does that make sense? He's like Todd Howard now. On disc, bang. WDJ. W, hold on, pull it up on the second monitor. Bang.
That a lot. Basically, he would be promoting his games and then just casually throw out something that was not in the game at all. And his team would be around him like, what did he just say is in our game? What the hell? It was like actually crazy. He openly admitted that he'd be doing interviews for his games like Fable, and he would just throw out something that sounded cool. And he's like, that would be a cool feature. We should go back to the office and try to add it. I'm like, that's how he promoted his games. So he made all sorts of legendary promises for the original Fable, like the idea that you could plant a seed in the ground and the tree would grow over the course of your run through. And, you know, eventually it becomes a centerpiece of the town and everything, which just ended up not being the case. But despite his leaky lips, the games that he made were beloved and ended up finding a lot of success. I mean, there's a reason why there's a lot of people like myself that played Fable when we were younger and still look back on those games very, very fondly. They weren't 10 out of 10 masterpieces or anything, but there was something so unique to them that's just hard to describe that we fell in love with. And we got a taste of it with this showcase and with seeing Fable once more, which is why so many people are excited right now. But the reason I bring up Peter is because it's important to...
Yeah, dude, this reminds me of being like 11 playing Fable 2 for the first time. I remember me and my mom went to this half-price bookstore, and there's always a gaming section in the half-price bookstore, or at least most of them have it. And I was looking through games, and she found Fable, and she's like, "What do you think about this?" I was like, looking at it. I remember the like monster on the back of it, and it said something like open world RPG or something like that, and I was like, yes, let's get it. It was like $8, I want to say. Bought it, took it home. The next day was Sunday. I played the entire day, bro. I think I got up to, maybe I'm tripping. Again, this was 14 years ago now, or 13 years ago. I think I got up to the arena the first day of that shit. Like that part of the story. Sorry, spoilers. But yeah, dude, absolutely incredible. And that was my favorite game for a really, really long time. And then Skyrim overtook it. So, you know, it happens to the best of us. But yeah, Milo the Connect boy? I don't think so, but I remember the like Connect Animals game. That shit was gas. And Connect Sports, that was also kind of gas. Probably playing it now, I would probably hate it because I also thought the Star Wars Jedi game was gas. But for like 10-year-old me, yeah, that shit was sick as hell. Milo's one of the reasons Lionhead was closed? Really? It's Jover.
Stress that while previously he overhyped Fable.
Bet. If I'm not exhausted after this video, I'll tap it on the Milo trailer.
Fable games, he's not involved in this project at all. In fact, he has another game he's launching in
we looked at this the other day,
where you basically play as God. They're known as like God sim games, where basically you control people from the perspective of God. It's a whole thing. Little God complexy, but whatever. It seems fun. I think I'm going to check it out. But again, the key is he's not involved in this. So anybody who's like, well, Peter's lied before, so I wouldn't believe him. He's literally not involved in this. Okay. So let's just be clear about that. The original team is gone, shut down after Microsoft bungled it back in like 2017. And now it's a brand new team. But going back to Playground Games, it's important to understand that they built this team from the ground up for this game specifically. We'll touch on combat a little bit later, but like they specifically hired people from CD Projekt Red who worked on The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk to help with like the game's combat and to be the combat director for this. Like they specifically sought out people from some of the biggest and most well-respected studios in the world that worked on some of the biggest games of the last 15 years, and they hired them specifically to work on this in senior positions, which is exactly what you would hope to see. But it's like important to understand that they're not having the guy that previously did like racing simulation stuff do this. No, it's like a dedicated team that's just built around this game. And so
when he said that, when I was watching this video, or like a portion of this video today before stream, I was like, oh, I should watch this on stream. When he said that, I was like, dude, this might actually have a shot at Game of the Year. I think this is genuinely going to be one of the most stacked years where, again, if GTA gets delayed, I mean, honestly, even if GTA is still in contention, right? I still think that if Fable is as good as they're saying it is, and Crimson Desert is as good as they're saying it is, it could be like a three-way battle to Game of the Year. Yeah, like genuinely. I know that there's going to be so much hype on GTA 6, but I think even if it's not as good as Red Dead 2, like slightly worse than Red Dead 2, there is a chance that Fable or Crimson Desert could dethrone it. And I'm not like particularly rooting for GTA to fail. I just love an underdog story. And not like, you know, Crimson Desert or Fable are underdog stories because they're AAA games, but I just think it's interesting. Rockstar has been dethroned before, you know, not, in my opinion, not rightfully so. In my opinion, Red Dead Redemption 2 is my second favorite game of all time. Arguably, in my opinion, the greatest game of all time, just overall, in storytelling, you know, gameplay, all of that, open world. Losing to God of War, I think God of War is up there as well, but I personally would take Red Dead 2 over God of War 10 times out of 10. Yeah. A friend of mine has spent a bunch of time playing Crimson Desert and says it's basically very obviously one of the most expansive games ever made. Dude, yeah. I think that shit's gonna be insane. I think people are gonna lose their minds. Yeah. I'm super excited for it. I don't know if that's gonna be like a stream game. Like, obviously GTA is gonna be like a streamer game. Fable is probably gonna be like a streamer game because you can get like so many stupid like outcomes and reactions and shit. I think Crimson Desert's going to be kind of similar to how Red Dead 2 was for a lot of streamers, where they didn't really get it when it first came out because it's like you have to take your time with it and shit. I think Crimson Desert might be the same way. But I think for like the general audience that just loves RPG, medieval, you know, magic games, I think Crimson Desert's going to hit like fucking crack.
I understand that some people look at the studio very suspiciously, seeing that their previous games are racing games. I just think it's important to understand the broader context of what's going on here, which is that it's not actually the Forza team that's making this game. It's a dedicated team that's been built up specifically for this game after they decided they wanted to try and make it. And you know, a lot of the discussions around this Fable reboot remind me a lot of Hogwarts Legacy, actually. I've seen other people bringing up the comparison to
people. That's another comment that I got a lot with my reels and TikToks. It's like people were like, this is reminding me of what Hogwarts Legacy should have been. Or like, oh, it's giving Hogwarts Legacy. I think that's somewhat a fair comparison. I think maybe the thing was maybe the reel like got to a more casual gamer sphere. So like that's just, they related to it, which again, not a bad thing at all. I just don't know if that's really my comp for it. I don't really know what I would comp the Fable that they're trying to build right now to. A lot of people keep trying to say, like, they're like, oh, so it's shittier KCD. And it's like, dude, totally different games, bro. Like, I understand kind of where you're coming from. Like, you're just looking for, like, a dunk. Like, you want your opinion to be known, yada, yada. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2 are, like, RPG. Like, they are trying to simulate the real world of that time and how shit worked. Fable isn't even a fantasy game. It's like a fairy tale game, if that makes sense at all. It's like totally different. And I think life sim elements in a game should make you instantly, in my opinion at least, from where my viewpoint is on, you know, being a dickhead on the internet and shit. If it has life sim elements of medieval time, you shouldn't just immediately be like, it's a shittier Kingdom Come Deliverance. Like, I think that's lame. Like, I'm not gonna sit out here and be like, you know, fucking, Skyrim is the shittier The Witcher 3 because The Witcher 3 has an incredible story, and they're also in medieval times with spells and swords, you know? I think it's just gonna be The Witcher, but silly. Yeah, if that's it, dude. I mean, they gotta run a Game of the Year, and I think it'll also sell well. Yeah, dude. Crimson Desert is like Crimson. Sorry, I jumbled up my words there. I saw they were releasing a Witcher mobile game. I didn't see anything specifically about it, but when I was doing my like Twitter reactions the other night, I was talking about it a little bit because somebody made a post about it, included with some of the other Witcher stuff going on. Crimson Desert is like Breath of the Wild in that there's so much to do that you can play on and off stream and still not cover it all. Dude, hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's adorable. Yeah, I'll have to tap in, honestly.
But I think it's important to remember that Hogwarts Legacy, the team behind it, Avalanche, their previous game prior to Hogwarts Legacy, which bear in mind, outsold Call of Duty. Like, it was crazy successful.
That's actually nuts.
Their game before Hogwarts Legacy was, I kid you not, Cars 3 Driven to Win. Like, that's what they did before. And then they came out with the most successful game of that year. So just because a studio made something around cars before does not mean they're incapable of making a really fun fantastical game where you can have like RPG elements and open world exploration and adventure. My point is, it's not disqualifying if they previously worked on racing games and are now trying to do this, you know? It's okay. It's not the end of the world. And I was really unconvinced of Avalanche's ability to deliver on Hogwarts Legacy, but dude, I was wrong. They did a great job. They delivered a game that was exactly what so many fans wanted out of it. And it goes to show that when you have like passion and it's a labor of love and it's a dream project for a lot of people, that labor of love and that passion carries a lot of weight when it comes to creative endeavors. And we saw that with Hogwarts Legacy, and I think we're seeing it with Fable as well. So
I was literally about to say, you can tell that the devs absolutely love Fable from the showcase. Like, you can literally see them getting giddy about the Fable that they are making and how it is similar to the OG Fables. Man, I love that, bro. I love that so much for them, bro. I think that shit's genuinely going to be awesome. Oh, dude, I didn't know that Avalanche made the Mad Max game. I didn't know who made that. When I played it when I was younger, I was a dumb kid, so I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, dude, Mad Max is actually really, really fucking good, and I've been meaning to replay it. It's a shame that it didn't sell better and shit, because I feel like that's one of those games that people look back on now that they're like, yeah, this shit's actually badass. Like, this is actually sick as hell. Oh, yeah, dude, I gotta replay that shit. Yeah. We should be on the third Mad Max game now? Dude. Mr. Stilfin, you are an LSU Tiger. Locked. Oh, dude, bless up. W transfer, bro.
So, as for the developer, I'm not concerned about it at all. I think they know what they're doing. They are a world-class developer for sure. And they specifically built a team specifically for this game. So I'm not concerned about that at all. The second thing I want to discuss is the claim of 1,000 NPCs. Now, when I first...
Dude, Luke has incredible points about this. I'm excited about this.
Heard this, I thought that surely they were doing some sort of procedural crap. You remember back in the day with Watch Dogs Legion, they had a whole system where you were actually able to find any NPC in the game, talk to them, they had their own stat sheet.
A chill just went up my spine.
They could even be recruited by the player and become a playable character themselves. It was genuinely a cool technological accomplishment. The problem was they kind of forgot to make a fun game around the cool system. So while it was like, oh, that's neat, I can recruit anybody and play them. Cool. They kind of forgot to build a video game that people would want to play outside of that. Oops. Happens to the best of us, I guess. But when it comes to Fable, they're actually doing things differently. You see, with Fable, the game director has actually said that each and every single one of these 1,000 NPCs has been handcrafted and is voice acted individually. So based on what they're telling us, it seems that this is not like they have 10 archetypes of NPCs and then they just change their names based on a list of available names shuffled up, and then they're like, yeah, we technically have 1,000 NPCs, you know, like Skyrim or Fallout 4 or something.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I guess, but like, really? You know, it's like each raider is its own NPC. sort of like, yeah, but not in the way that you're talking, like, you know what I mean? No, it seems in this game, they are actually individual beings that have their own routines. They're assigned a place to live. They're assigned tasks. They're assigned schedules day in, day out. And they even said that you can follow the NPCs as they go about their daily routines and just experience their life from their perspective. And you know, I've seen people say there's no way that.
Do we think the NPCs will crack each other? Just wondering for science. And when I'm clip farming in this game, when I go and follow someone around, you think they'll just be fucking beating the shit out of each other's nasties, bro? All right, I'm all in. I'm sold. I'm sold on this. Let me pre-order it today. No, dude, that's that is incredible. That handcrafted, voice acted NPC 1,000. That's nuts. I'm dead. I'm even more excited now. Thank God for Game Pass this year. It's gonna pay off. Godspeed. Oh, yo, DJ, are you stoked for what is that? Beast of Reincarnation, right? That shit actually looked really good. I was like, yo, I might have to cop this. Key.
It's not possible. I even saw a clip from a pretty sizable YouTuber saying, I don't think that's even possible with modern tech, which is really funny. Okay, they're probably just not thinking clearly, but I find that really funny because a game came out last year that did this very same thing, but with even more NPCs. Do you know what game I'm talking about? Pause the video, think about it, be like, what could that be? No shocker if you know me, it's my game of the year from 2025. KCD2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did this. There's actually a talk on YouTube that you can watch, a full seminar with one of the devs from Warhorse talking about the simulation of NPCs that they used in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. But obviously we don't speak Czech, so I'm just gonna hit the spark notes, okay? But if you wanna watch it with subtitles, you can. It's very interesting. And shout out to CZ Mannix for putting this together and just the quick little spark notes on it. But basically he outlines how there's 500 houses, 3,500 NPCs, a good bit more than even Fable is aiming for. And that also includes 3,800 chests for them, 15,000 items, 30,000 places of activities for NPCs, such as benches, forges, fields, individual locations where the NPC can travel to. And all of these NPCs are simulated. So 70 of the NPCs directly around the players, those little green ones, are actively simulated, meaning that the game is actively moving them around the map and processing them in real time. Beyond that, 400 NPCs far away have partial simulation. So they basically become a moving dot and they can quickly switch to full simulation, but it's basically just going with clunkier movements. Maybe they warp occasionally, but they're not smoothly moving through the map. And then as you get even further away, all the rest, so roughly 3,000 other NPCs are being simulated, but only have basic info like their position at that current time and their current activity. And again, this full deep dive is fascinating because they even have it broken down into individual zones where certain pieces of simulation will be hit. Nuts. And it's broken down inside individual cities. It's genuine.
That's so cool that they did that though, where they basically were letting teaching other game devs how to do exactly what they did with their NPCs. That's really sick.
Genuinely fascinating. It's fascinating and just makes your brain break how they're able to do that, and the game also runs fantastically well. It's just stunning. But the reason I point this out is because people who think that what Fable is aiming for is totally novel or unachievable, it's not. A game last year did it 3 times over. It's very, very doable. The only difference with Fable is that they've built out within those NPCs seemingly the ability for your player character to approach them, marry them, and then have offspring with them.
Have a bunch of jits.
Who knows to what degree that depth is? I'm guessing there's probably not a long romantic quest line for every single NPC. It's probably hey, you want to get married? Sure, we're married now. Hooray. And then
hey man, hit the fart tech from Fable 2, bro. You just gotta make sure you don't red bar it so you don't shit your pants. Hit the fart tech a couple times, tell a couple funny jokes, and then they'll be like, oh my god, have me, hero. And then get married and have some offspring, bro. If they don't bring the fart tech back to their Fable reboot, I'm rioting, okay? Playground Games headquarters, I just want to talk. I'm going to show up and have an in-depth discussion with you about putting that in the next one, all right? Oh, sorry, I muted you. My bad, Luke.
Kind of like Stardew Valley when you're married, and it's just all of a sudden everything's terrible and boring and lifeless and soulless and passionless. It's a little sad, but yeah. It's just, what do you think they're trying to say about marriage with that? I'm happily married. Stop it. Shut up. I'm joking. They also said that each NPC will have a basic outline of what they like and what they don't like, what they respect and what they don't respect, and that will be bounced off of the player's reputation in order to determine what that NPC thinks of you. And this, I don't think, is actually that crazy. Basically, for each and every NPC, they'll have a little, almost just like chart where you can just say, okay, they like these things, they hate these things. So they like somebody who's down to earth, maybe who is poor, who has these certain traits based on your actions in that area. And then it has things that they don't like. And it's like, oh, I don't like.
So like, start of the game, riz up a shorty or a man, you know, whatever. Riz them up, get married, buy a little hut on the side of the fucking mountain. Then all of a sudden you become a grand hero of the land. Your name's getting out there. You got bread like that. Hey, you're taking care of shorty. You and your fucking 19 kids, okay? Because, hey, God knows, medieval times, what type of protection they got? Nothing, all right? So you and your 19 kids, right? She's out there. You're coming home from your adventures. Oh, my God, I slayed this giant the other day. Oh, that's incredible. I made all this money taking care of him and everything. Then you're like, yo, what if I take some of this money, I reinvest? I buy some property, I buy some businesses. But guess what? That makes you a fucking capitalist pig. Okay? You're rich now. You changed up. Your wife divorces you, takes the custody of the 19 children, okay? And they move away to a faraway land. What the fuck? Or maybe they don't move away. Maybe she doesn't divorce you. Maybe now instead of coming home to your sweet honey pie, okay, your character's soulmate, you come back to your bitch wife, and she's got to tell you about how you're a piece of shit, got them living in a fucking hut while you're living in a goddamn castle with your 14 housekeepers, goddamn 46 mercenaries in the goddamn courthouse or whatever, okay, your 47 properties. And the slave trade you haven't shut down in Albion. I don't know, just something that came to me there. So, anyways, Luke, continue, please.
Like snobby people, I don't like rich people and that type of thing. So if they come across the player character and the player character has those traits they don't like, all of a sudden their reputation score drops and maybe now their store prices are more expensive for you.
Oh.
It's a fairly straightforward simulation thing to do, and it's not that crazy. You know, we're not talking about needing a supercomputer to run this. It's just smart design. If you go into the game from the very start wanting to accomplish this, you absolutely can. Personally, I'm expecting that the relationships and the individual characteristics of each and every NPC is probably going to be pretty minimal. I don't think you should go into this expecting to have deep conversations with every NPC that's hiding in every corner of the map. There's probably dedicated NPCs that are like quest givers that have a lot more individual dialogue and writing and stuff. But as for like the average just NPC you see walking around, I would not expect them to like have a ton of depth. I think they're going to have a name, a voice. Maybe they have some basic lines for when they're hired somewhere and when they're evicted from somewhere and they hate you. They have dialogue for saying thank you and saying goodbye. But other than that, probably not a ton. I feel like that's basically what they depicted in the showcase. If people are starting to overhype it and think that there's going to be like chat GPT levels of conversation, I would say calm your horses, but this all sounds very achievable to me. So maybe it's just that I'm spoiled after Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, but I want to say that what they're describing is not actually that insane. Hell, even back in 2017, Assassin's Creed Origins, of all games, had NPC simulation with full daytime, nighttime routines, bed assignments for all of the NPCs, jobs and locations for them. Like, they were doing that at Ubisoft 10 years ago. So it's very doable for Fable to be doing it today. I don't find the 1,000 NPC thing particularly crazy, but I do really like that they're not just doing procedural stuff, they're actually handcrafting them. I think that's going to help a lot. Other things they described, such as buying property and businesses, this is really exciting, and if you know Fable, this probably piqued your interest immediately. This also seems quite doable, and pairing NPC assignments to those individual businesses to run them makes perfect sense to me. It allows you to kind of build relationships with those NPCs and just kind of makes sense. You know, with Fable, it's often described as there being like a game within the game, where it's the game Fable, but then there's also like these mini systems where you can almost get totally distracted. And
yeah, dude, I said this, I think maybe after we watched the showcase, or maybe it was the day after that, but Fable, especially with the Fable that they're building right now, it feels like it's two games in one. You're getting like pretty much a cozy game of like, yo, you can buy up a house in town and work at the blacksmith shop, and then you can buy the blacksmith shop. You can, then you can go buy some more houses. You can keep working at the blacksmith shop, all that. But also, you got a full-on fucking RPG. I think it is fair, though, while we're just talking about this, and he was talking about people having too high of expectations, I think people should go into this game expecting an 8 out of 10. An 8 out of 10. If it's a 9 or close to a 10 out of 10, perfect. If it's a 7 out of 10, oh, damn, dude. Could have been a little better, but, still a fun game. But I think people going in here thinking that this is going to be a 10 out of 10, like they're going to like do something like completely groundbreaking. I think they could possibly. Like, it sounds like they have the team for it. They've been working on it for a really long time. Like, there's a possibility. But me personally, I'm going into this thing going, if it's a 7 out of 10, I'm good. Yeah, this is good for me. This is good for me.
Kangaroo.
Yeah, it's got a bit of Stardew in there. Yeah, dude. That's what a lot of people on TikTok were like, the cozy girlies that were like, I don't usually play games like this because I'm into cozy games, but I think I'm going to have to check this one out, which I love, dude. Love the crossover, bro. Love the crossover.
Live an entire life within the game, where you're like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be going on a grand quest. Like, but that's what is so core to Fable, is those weird, quirky, fun games within the game, and I'm so glad to see that they are putting that front and forward here, because it's just fun, it's just fun. Not every game needs to try to be Elden Ring or Dark Souls. Like, I'm so glad that they're not just doing like Dark Souls ripoff, but with Fable on the cover. Like, they're actually doing.
That's literally what I was terrified about, is that they were going to like try and completely like reinvent the wheel and not stick true to anything. So that's why like that reaction of me like jumping out of my chair pretty much and getting excited on my TikTok and Instagram, that was real genuine excitement, because I was terrified that they were going to take that shit out of there.
Wing Fable. It makes me happy. But you know what made some people not happy? Discussions about the morality system. So in all Fable games, there was a system, in case you're not familiar, where basically if you were good or bad, it could actually change your physical appearance. So it might actually put like a literal halo over your head, or you might literally grow horns out of your head. And so you would have a visual and physical representation of your actions. And the way the games were written and staged and framed was always very black and white. It was, this is good, this is bad, this is righteous, this is evil. And there were like maybe occasionally like exceptions to that, but in general, that's kind of what they were going for. Good and evil. With this game, however, the game director has described to various media outlets that they're going a different direction. Specifically, he described how he didn't want it to be so black and white. He wanted there to be a little more gradation of choice, a little more complexity, where maybe you can come to one conclusion, perfectly justified if you look at it from one particular angle, and then you could come to the complete opposite conclusion if you looked at it from a different perspective. Like how RPGs tend to work, which I can respect the desire to do that instead of just just boiling it down to something really, really simple, where it's like, you can let the murderer live or you can execute him. Like, give me a little more nuance, you know? But perhaps the biggest reason that they didn't want to do this physical shift in the player's appearance based on their moral choices was actually because of something they were doing with the NPCs. You see, they described how across the map, there's going to be all sorts of different locations. So there might be like a little village over here, and then there's like a big castle over here, and then there's like a full city over here behind my head, and maybe there's like smaller camps and stuff scattered around the map, right? This is kind of their vision for the game and how they have it set up. But what they wanted to happen was for you to have different relationships with each of these different groups. So maybe over here you did something really generous and righteous, you helped people out, you gave to the poor or whatever, and so they love you right here. But the town over, you killed a guy, you robbed him, you evicted everybody, maybe you bought every piece of real estate in the city and then evicted everybody, which is definitely what I'm going to try to do. And so they don't like you over here. And because they wanted you to have the freedom to go and experiment with different things as you went to each and every single little city,
that's
and
so
village,
fire.
and, you know, as you reached new communities, you could interact with them differently. They decided that, like, if you literally walked up and had horns, it would probably not be one of those situations where they look at you, okay, I'm open. Like, they probably wouldn't treat you that way. They'd probably be like, okay, this is a bad person. Same with you if you walked up with a halo, you know, they'd look at you that way. And so they basically realized that they had a choice. You could either build the game around effectively one gigantic relationship with NPCs, where one gigantic opinion is based or built based on your actions, where you walk to one city, you do something bad, and your reputation with everybody across the whole game drops if you do something bad. But if you do something good, your relationship with everybody goes up across the map. They could do it that way, or they could do it the way that they elected to, which was to go with individual locations so you could experiment more. And I don't have a problem with that at
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, it kind of takes away a little bit of the whole fairy tale-ness of Fable. But if we're being somewhat realistic here, one, more nuance is cool. And also, again, kind of realistic, how the fuck would word from one town travel to the other so quickly? Right? In the old Fables, everyone would love you for the most part in one place, or across the land, at least from Fable 2, from what I remember, right? If you did something good in the town all the way over here, people in this town, they fucked with you heavy. So that wouldn't really make sense. There would be no way for that news to travel that quickly, probably, too, as well. At least that's something I'm kind of thinking of right now while we're talking about it.
At all. I'm totally fine with that, especially because that's how games like Fallout New Vegas work. Of course, there it's based on faction relationships,
right.
But they even have factions specific to individual locations, like Good Springs, for example. So I'm totally fine with this. I think that sounds cool, and it allows you to have good relationships with certain people. Maybe the NPCs there you just like more than the NPCs over here. And so you destroy these guys and they're absolutely livid with you. They hate you, but over here they love you. I think that's fine. I understand why some people were frustrated that they made a change from how they used to do it and they liked the physical representation, but I personally don't think it's a big deal, and I can totally understand why they made the change, and I think that it makes sense. Another smaller change that they made that I want to touch on is the removal of a dog companion. This was a big...
I am genuinely mad about this one. Respectfully, hey, Playground Games, do your thing, okay? Everything else I'm with you on in one way or another. The dog, though? Are we fucking serious? Are we fucking dead ass? You're getting rid of the dog. What's the number one rule in movies? Don't kill the dog. What did you do? You killed the fucking dog, man. What the fuck? Move to a different state and everything? Damn, bro. How are you liking the new place? Dude, get a job? Me?
Thing with Fable 2, of course, and they just said very coyly it was for development reasons. The game director said there's people on the team that are still upset with him for cutting it from the game, but they needed to cut it for something that they were doing in the game and it just wasn't working. I don't know what that means. I don't know why they cut.
Never mind. I said I said that if it's a 7 out of 10, I'll be happy. This shit better be at least a 9 out of 10 now. In fact, we had to cut the fucking dog. If the dog was in it, it could have been a 7 out of 10. I would have sung your fucking praises. I would have been like, hey, it's a 7 out of 10, but it's an incredible 7 out of 10. It's the best 7 out of 10 you're ever going to fucking experience. I love this shit so much. If it's a 7 out of 10 now, I'm going to go, hey, it would have been an 8 out of 10 for me if the fucking dog was in it. So make that shit a 9 out of 10, my boy, or I'm going to fucking have a problem. Okay? No, I'm just kidding. Sort of. I mean, I am a little sad about the dog not being in there. I did. That was one of my favorite things as a kid was the dog. Actually, not really. Oh, I'm sorry, bro. That shit can suck sometimes. There's been a couple places I've lived in my life where I'm like, damn, dude. Wish I was still living where I used to be. But eventually, bro, I know you'll get it figured out. Reggie. Sorry. Autism took over there. Kyrus activated it.
I don't know what the restriction was, if it's a combat restriction, if it was a data streaming restriction, maybe they couldn't simulate the dog's AI properly or something. Maybe they wanted to do certain things in quests and they were like, we just don't want to have to worry about it, so let's just cut it. Like, I don't know. Do I think it's a deal breaker? Personally not, but if you really like doggos, maybe that is a deal breaker. I also wouldn't be surprised if at some point in the game there is a
He just hit the millennial tech. If you really like doggos.
dog at least for a mission or two. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But yeah, I figured we'd touch on it. I've seen people talk about it. For me, it's not that big of a deal. Now, one that I think is a big deal is the discussion around the combat. Combat in any game like this is crucial. Like, you're going to be doing it a lot. It's kind of important. And when we saw the combat in the showcase, some people felt it looked pretty clunky. Other people thought that there wasn't enough of it to actually make out what you were even going to be doing. And I will say they used pretty tight clips of combat. Like, they didn't do big, long, extended cuts of like 2 minutes of combat or anything. That's not really what this show was meant to be honest. But I can see what people are saying. Like, it's cut up pretty aggressively, and sure, it's something you can't really tell how it's going to play based on just visuals. So it's something to maybe withhold judgment on. I totally get that. But like I said, one thing I want to point out.
I know this is kind of like a really dumb take, right? But this is just my take. If in a video game, the gameplay is just good, but everything else in the game is incredible, I'll still glaze the game. I'll still glaze the fucking game, bro. If the story, I'm not a fucking JRPG guy. Expedition 33 is my favorite game of all time. Okay? I'm not a turn-based guy at all. I fucking hate turn-based. Expedition 33 is my favorite game of all time. Now, they did do, the parry and dodge mechanic, made it way better, okay, than all the other turn-based games I've played. But shit's still my favorite game of all time, bro. Like, it doesn't have to be anything that blows my socks off gameplay-wise. I know that's like kind of a crazy take considering the fact that's most of the time in these games what you're doing the most. Like in Fable, it's going to be the most. But if it's good, if it's just good, not great, not incredible, just good, I'll still probably sing this game's praises. Again, if they can, pull off all the like life sim elements and shit like that and tell a compelling story and have interesting side quests and things like that. If it's just good, I'm chilling.
Is that they hired somebody that like really knows what he's doing. They actually hired the Cyberpunk 2077 senior gameplay designer all the way back in 2021. He worked on the project for a number of years and was literally, his job title was that he was in charge of designing and implementing combat in Fable. Pretty big job. Pretty clear job. Like, okay, just do the combat, sir. And I will say he's got the credentials coming off of Cyberpunk 2077 and The Witcher 3, like probably knows what he's doing. So I will agree that based on the footage that we've seen, it's kind of hard to tell how fun or engaging or captivating the combat's going to be. To me, it seems again very similar to Hogwarts Legacy, where it doesn't show particularly well, and it's mainly going to come down to how it feels when you're holding the controller. Or a mouse and keyboard if you're a masochist and play third-person adventure games with a mouse and keyboard. Ooh. I mean, props. I respect it. I couldn't do it. And I'm a PC gamer. I can't do it. I use controllers for that. But I think time will tell whether or not the combat feels good or the boss fights are compelling and engaging. Time will tell. I think this one is still a question mark. I don't think you can tell decisively one way or the other based on the footage that we saw. So this one I think is fair to be skeptical of until we've seen more. Similarly, the open world exploration is also a big question mark. They can't reveal everything in a showcase like this. They obviously plan on showing more over the course of this year, but this one I think is also a big question mark even still. You know, building compelling open worlds that are fun and interesting to explore is not an easy thing to do. And
look at fucking Ubisoft. Look at fucking Ubisoft, bro. Hey, they know how to prove it's not easy to do, dude.
Take some expertise and a few tricks and some sneaky gameplay design and stuff. So it's something that's tough. And based on what we saw, there's really not much to say. Like, we saw a couple of vistas and a lot of dark forests and caves and stuff, but we don't actually know what it's going to be like to just explore for 20 minutes riding between cities or anything like that. Are you going to get jumped by raiders? Are you going to come across dynamic questing like in Red Dead Redemption 2, where people just approach you with their problems and it kickstarts a side quest? Is it going to be really straightforward and you just literally travel from place to place and nothing really happens between them? We don't know, and we don't have any clear idea. Time will tell. I'm sure they've thought of this and they're aware of it. It's just something they haven't revealed yet. So this one also can stay a question mark. There's just not enough information to make a decision on it. Could end up being awesome. It could end up being super boring. We just don't know. But what we do know is that when people saw the male playable character, they stared immediately at his butt and tried to evaluate his walking animation. This is one I can't believe we're talking about, but I need to address it, okay? Because like, once you see it, you can't really unsee it. It's dumb. It's stupid. I've never felt like this before. It's so weird. Basically, people have the suspicion that the original plan was for Fable to be built around the original playable character that they showcased in those announcement trailers, the female. And that after the reception was quite poor to that character design, they decided to add in a character creator, or a character designer. I don't know what you call it. Basically, you swap out heads and body types and stuff, but it's not like a full-on character creator. And so they decided to do that based on the feedback, but they had designed the game from...
Yo, Peaky, thanks for the follow. Also, Lambo, how's it going, homie? What's new? Welcome in, goat.
From the beginning to have a female protagonist. And so the conspiracy theory is that all of the walking animations that they're using for the playable character are female walking animations, which is why if you look at a couple of clips from the showcase of the male playable character walking, his butt wiggles in a feminine way. Again, I can't believe I'm talking about it, but like, this is what people are saying, okay? Don't hate the messenger. I'm just telling you what people are saying, okay? And after staring at this digital character's butt for longer than I ever would have thought I would on a Saturday night, I've been left confused, conflicted. I don't know. There's a lot of feelings going on. Like, does it look a little bit swaggery, if that's a word? Yeah, I guess. Does it look feminine? I don't know, dude. Like, I don't know. I would not have noticed this until somebody pointed it out. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, is this one of those things where it's like when you say a word 1,000 times and then it starts to sound weird to you? Like if you say to you, to you, to you, to you, to you, to you, it starts to sound like just monkey sounds and it stops sounding like words. You know, is this one of those things where we're just focusing on it so much that it starts to look weird because our brain is trying to convince us it's weird? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think that this is a woman's walking animation or not. I don't personally find this to be a particularly big deal, but apparently some people on Twitter think it's world ending. So,
dude, yup. All our favorite growth gamers. Yes, I got a decent amount of comments that motherfuckers be like, well, I'm not gonna buy this game if I gotta walk like a woman. I'm not gonna buy this game if I gotta walk like a woman the whole time. I'm a real deal man. Okay? My 3-centimeter penis makes me walk differently than how that little gay boy in that trailer did. Okay? Thank God they added character customization. I can't play my games as an average looking woman.
I have to give her huge tits and a fat ass, and it has to have jiggle physics, so I can jerk it while I sword fight. Okay?
Yeah, no, genuinely though, brother, if I spent that much time worrying about a game because of a walking animation, I think I would have taken myself out by now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I would have taken myself out by now.
There you go. If it is like a female walking animation, okay, like maybe that's why we haven't seen extended periods of walking where you can like compare the two. I don't know how easy that is to swap out and fix. Probably like something they could definitely do in the next 6 months if they needed to. But
wait till the next showcase, bro. Shut the fuck up until then. You fucking chud.
There you go. So yeah. Again, I'm surprised we talked about it. I just saw enough people bringing it up that I was like, okay, we'll address it. To me, this is far from a deal breaker. If I'm like, the game was great, really immersive, really cool and innovative stuff with NPCs, but the butt wiggled a little too much when my character walked. So I'm out. I'm not going to do that. Okay. That's stupid. But there you go. That's your Twitter rage bait for the day. Now, another thing that's worth bringing up is the performance. They did showcase a good selection of gameplay clips, but there's a couple of things to notice. For one, multiple of the clips that they showed seem to have a struggle maintaining a steady frame rate, but it's important to remember that these games are in development. They're going to polish, and a lot can be done in the last 6 months or so of development. So I wouldn't be too worried at this point. If we get a week away from launch and we're seeing that there's lots of frame dips and stuff, then sure, that's worth bringing up at that point. But as of right now, I think it's too early to tell. The other thing that you'll notice is that a lot of the gameplay snippets, when they like film a developer's screen, were shot in slow motion, which makes it really hard to tell like how smooth the gameplay actually is on screen. Once you notice it and you go back through the presentation and you look at how many shots are in slow motion, it'll be like, oh yeah, you can't unsee it. But again, I understand the concerns over performance. I just think at this point, it's a little too early to tell. Closer to launch, I think we can really pixel peep and figure.
And to be fair, this could get delayed. So not that I'm hoping for that. I know people would lose their minds because people have been waiting for this for a while, but also, you know, GTA has been delayed so many times.
Figure out how this is going to run.
Stop it back in, by the way.
But as of right now, I just personally think it's too early. Even games like KCD2, which ended up launching very, very impressively optimized 6 months before launch, had bugs and had stuttering, and like it's a very normal thing in game development. So I wouldn't die on this hill just yet. But to wrap all of this up, overall, I think a lot of what they're doing is very, very achievable. There are certainly still some big question marks when it comes to what they're like trying to do with combat, for example, or the open world design, how compelling it's going to be to actually explore this world. Those are big question marks, especially for a team that's never built a game like this before. But we've also seen that teams that have never built games like this before can sometimes really surprise you, like with Hogwarts Legacy. When something's a labor of love, a passion, like a lot of the time they can figure it out, man. Like it's crazy, but they can. And especially when you consider the fact that they went into this game knowing exactly what they were trying to do. It's not like they were trying to solve the problem of what is a Fable game? What type of game are we going to make? They knew what they wanted to do from the start, and they hired people specifically to see that vision through. More than anything, based on what we saw, I think it's very, very clear that this is a team that just kind of understands the assignment. Going into the developer showcase, I wasn't sure what to expect, but I didn't expect it to look particularly good. But what really shocked me was when I saw it, it felt like Fable. And as I alluded to,
we're so up, bro. We are so up. We are so up, bro. We're so back.
Earlier in the video, there's just something about Fable that's unique. It's special. There's not really anything else quite like it. Maybe it's the game within the game. Maybe it's the simulation stuff, the NPC relationships, the sort of live your own life within this fantastical realm while you're playing a video game. Like maybe that's it. I'm not totally sure. But what I do know and what I am sure about is that Fable's reboot actually feels like a Fable game, at least based on what we've seen so far. And that excites me. As with all games, I don't think you should ever get hyped, because when you get hyped, you start to get blinders put up. You stop thinking critically about the game. And
like I said, expect a 7 or 8 out of 10. Do not expect the shit to be life-changing. If you go into it and it is life-changing, incredible. But be warned. Okay.
About what is truly happening, because at the end of the day, this is a company trying to sell you a product, and you need to remember that. But that also doesn't mean that you need to be a cynical jerk about everything. You know, it's possible that a game just looks fun. It's possible for a game to just look like they did a good job and like something you're interested in. Maybe in a month or two, they're going to reveal something like, actually, yeah, all of that stuff is true. We're launching it at 500p and it's going to run at 20 frames. Then that's going to be a problem. But until that day comes, I don't see any clear reason to be super cynical about this project. I've seen a lot of really good things about what they're doing here. All of it seems quite achievable and doable. And this is a world-class studio with a lot of money behind it and a lot of passion and tons of time that's been spent on this project, which are all of the things you need to make a game successful. You also need a bit of luck, passion, and an audience that wants it. But I mean, all of the stars are kind of aligning as far as I can tell, which is part of the reason that I and so many other people were impressed by what we saw. As I said, there's still big question marks around the open world stuff, the combat. Time will tell with those. And when we get better looks at them, I'll make videos at that point and we'll talk about them. Maybe the combat looks terrible. Maybe the open world stuff looks boring as hell. We just don't know yet. So it's not fair to come to a conclusion decisively one way or the other. But as of right now, I think it's perfectly fine to be excited for Fable. I am, because I think it looks really good and they're saying a lot of the right stuff to make me excited. So I'll keep an eye on it, but as of right now, I can't wait to see more. But let me know what you think of all of this in the comment section.
Dude, hell yeah, bro. Great video by Luke. Everyone knows when Luke comes back from holidays, his legs also come off? What? I noticed homie swinging his hips immediately when I saw the trailer. Bro, that's actually insane. Nah, I noticed the hips, not lying. The moment it came up in the showcase, it's absolutely a body type B walk. Dude, it's everybody. Oh, right, because he asked them to. Right. God damn it, Luke. Luke, ask a more important question about the game other than, did you see the way this guy's ass cheeks kind of permeated around each other like that? I was looking for some real deep, fucking hard-hitting questions here, Luke. No, just kidding. Incredible video by Luke Stevens. Always, what an interesting screenshot to end off on. Hold on, let's get him. That's better. But yeah, dude, I'm incredibly excited for Fable. He's 100% right, though. We should curb our expectations, okay? Don't get too excited. I, however, am excited, okay? But that's okay. If I go into it and I get my expectations let down, well, then at least I get to bitch about it on twitch.com or Twitch TV and then take it to TikTok. TikTok. And Instagram Reels. But yeah, dude, incredible video by Luke. I think he covered a lot of the topics. I don't really have anything else to add because I kind of already added it while we were talking about it.